this computer. Okay, so good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so we're in the month of Kislev now. So it was Rosh Chodesh, the new moon, on Thursday, Friday last week. So we're officially in Kislev. Kislev is the darkest month of the year, right? We just set our clocks back, but we're moving towards the winter, the winter solstice, which is literally the very darkest day, longest night of the whole year. And in Kabbalah, in the Sefer Yetzirah, the Kabbalists associate, each month is associated with a certain sense or a certain kind of vibe, right? Kislev is associated with dreaming. The month of Kislev is associated with dreaming, probably because we have more darkness and night than we do day. And the supremacy of the nighttime somehow relates to like our non-waking state. Also, every single parsha that we read in the month of Kislev involves dream prophecy. Every single one. Starting in this week's parsha, which is Jacob escapes after stealing the blessing, and he's escaping his brother, and he's heading off to Haran, to his uncle Lavan's house, and he comes to a place and he assembles all these stones around his head, and he sleeps there. And in his dream, he sees the angels ascending, going up and down a ladder, and God appears to him, and God tells him, listen, I promised your grandfather, and I'm going to fulfill my promise to you. This land will be yours. You'll be a great nation, as numerous as, you know, the dust on the earth, and I'll make you great, and everybody will bless themselves by you. And Jacob wakes up and he has this like aha experience of, oh my gosh, like God was in this place and I didn't even know it. And he says, hazeh norah hamakom hazeh. How norah is, we say it's amazing, but it's the same root word of like ner, which is candles, or, which is to see, which is vision. How amazing, how like awakened and enlightened, literally like enlightened is this place. And so anyway, that's the beginning of our month of Kislev. We read that. And there's a lot of teachings about light, and light is all related to vision. And vision, Kabbalistically, isn't just about our actual sense in the world of what we physically see. It's also about our inner dream vision and how we ascend beyond just the senses and actually are awakened to something higher, more transcendent, something maybe more hidden. So we'll see how that translates into a yoga practice today. I'm thinking we'll play with gaze and vision, like outward vision and inward sensing vision. I also thought we might do some what's called yoga nidra practice, which is literally like this yogic sleep, it's called, but it's really about lucid dreaming. And it's a type of meditation on like in the body that brings you into, you know, that state like right before you wake up and you're like you have the most vivid dreams and they're there, and then the minute you wake up they're gone, and you're like, wait, what can I get back into? That's what the yogic sleep kind of mode brings you into, that liminal space between being awake and being asleep, where there's a very active visual dream state happening. And actually, Kabbalistically, in Jewish meditation, there are a lot of techniques to get into that place of visualization. So we'll play with a little bit of that, if that sounds good. All right. Nothing specific in the body. We'll just move and see where the practice takes us. Okay.
So can I just, for the first time, I thought, I can't believe I didn't think about this, but you know how like the whole business of narrow space, when, you know, the Exodus in a narrow space, that the light and the darkness, looking for the light in the darkness that can consume our lives, that, you know, the bad things, and how do you find that light? You know, that's, I mean, you know what I mean? Because it is the darkest part of the year, but there are times when the darkest does dominate. And how do you find the light? It's a good, yeah.
Yeah, that's really the theme of the month. That's the theme of the month, that as we go deeper and deeper and deeper into darkness, how do we, from within ourselves, within our own heart, our own spirit, within our own soul, how do we generate and cultivate some light and enlighten those darker places?
Right. And just the last thing with Jacob saying, God was here and I didn't know it. That's, there was something good, divine, sacred, but I wasn't open to it.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. That's something I was like actually working on with my 10th grade girls last night in Rosh Chodesh. Ellen's daughter is in my group. I won't reveal too much because what happens in Rosh Chodesh stays in Rosh Chodesh. But I will say we were talking about success and failure and actually celebrating mistakes or perceived failures as an opportunity to find some light there. Like, what was good about that? What did you learn from that? How did you grow from that? Like, not just saying that this was all terrible and all bad and and taking those dark things and looking for the God aha in there. I have to say it was a hard sell. Most of the girls were like, not buying it. Failing a test is failing a test. It's amazing how stuck we get in the dark, right? And how difficult it actually is to find that light. All right, which now I'm thinking we're going to have to do some Kabbalah Bati breathing today because that is totally about cultivating heat and light. But let's just start for a moment. Just close your eyes for a moment. And we'll come back to real, like more visualization practice later. But for right now, just be in your body. Just feel yourself residing and taking up space in your physical form. Just notice yourself breathing. And just from inside your body, just notice what feels light and what feels dark. It's a strange thing, but just like in your body, like your cells, your blood, your organs, does it feel like dense and dark, or does there feel like there's light within certain places? And then just become aware of the surrounding, like outside of your physical body, right? Outside of your skin, in the room you're in, outside your window, and just be aware of light. I'm going to ask you to imagine that your skin, all the pores of your skin covering your whole body, all of your pores are open, literally porous, open. And as you inhale, I want you to imagine that you're inhaling light from all of your surroundings. You're inhaling light and bringing that light into your body. And as you exhale, maybe you're exhaling any darkness out through the pores. So there's this bringing in of light, filling yourself up to lighten yourself inside, releasing darkness. And internally, just gaze towards your third eye, that space between your eyebrows and slightly elevated, like behind your forehead. And imagine that there's a candle there. So that's the light of the candle. And from that place, like your whole spine is sort of the candlestick with the wick running through it, that central column of your spine. You can imagine your seat being the candle holder. And imagine that that candle is just shining and illuminating and casting a glow around your body. You might notice your breath really slowing down and relaxing. You may even feel warm. Norah, hazeh. How enlightened, how awesome is this place? You can bring your hands over your heart. And take a moment to set any intention you have for this morning's practice. It could relate to bringing light into something dark. It could relate to some vision or dream that you have for yourself or for someone you love. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes or keep them closed, your choice. But you're gonna make your way into all fours, a tabletop pose. And we'll start here just really gently moving your body through that cat-cow motion. So on the inhale, the belly drops and the chest and throat and head lift and lengthen. As you exhale, you pull the belly all the way in and you puff up into the upper back, stretching behind the upper back and shoulders, pushing into the floor. So just do a few of those. And maybe keep your eyes closed and have like an inner gaze. And then open your eyes and see how what you're attuned to and aware of changes when your eyes are open. Right? Waking consciousness is a very different state than sleeping consciousness or than meditation consciousness. Oh, Sandy, you can't be on your knees at all? I'm just wondering. Because I was going to do a shoulder stretch here, but I can show you a variation for that. You're okay? Okay, wasn't sure. All right. So we're going to take a little shoulder stretch. Now you may want to have a blanket nearby and you may want to have a pillow nearby. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of core actually. So I'm going to, I'll start with the right side. Sorry, I'm mirroring you here. Okay. All right. So you're going to begin by taking your right arm just straight out to the side. It doesn't have to be high. Definitely don't take it higher than the shoulder. Keep it a little lower. But you want to lift that up and notice what's happening in your core right now, because you just became very asymmetrical. So you really have to squeeze in the belly to hold yourself here, right? To keep that back flat. Okay. Yep. So like from the side, right? We're not doing this. We're not opening up. We're trying to keep that nice flat back. So the belly is drawing in. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to take that arm and slide it on all the way under and across. You're trying to bring that shoulder down to the ground and the head to the ground. If you can do that without props, go for it. Otherwise, you can bring this blanket kind of under the shoulder if you need to elevate, and you can bring the pillow for your head to elevate. And what you're doing here is you're starting to stretch across the upper back and into the back of that shoulder. It's also a twist, so you're getting a little bit of an oblique core stretch here as well. Good. Now notice what's happening in your hips. So the tendency here would be for that right hip to drop down and the left hip to lift up. What I want you to think about doing is pull the right side of the waist up, engage those abs, and lift that right hip back up slightly. Yeah, and that's kind of the anchor, and you'll feel that twist from that right hip, the right low back, all the way up the right side into that shoulder. Should feel really good. Breathe. In yoga, there's something called Yin Yoga. Yin is, the more feminine, the more slow, relaxed, as opposed to the active movement principle. An active yoga practice is vinyasa, right? Let's flow, 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 move, move, move. Yin is, let's get into a pose and just rest there. Let's close our eyes. Let's go into that different brainwave state where we're more being and not doing, and let something show up here. All right, you're gonna come back up through the center into your cat-cow. Stretch your fingers. Let's take a down dog in between. So you're just gonna lift your hips high. You can pedal out your heels. Keep your breath slow and calm here. And for a moment in your down dog, close your eyes. Close your eyes. So again, just feeling this inner connection. Hamakom hazeh, this place within my body, within my own awareness. Calm, slow breathing. And then slowly lower your knees again. We're going to take the shoulder stretch to the other side. So first, when you get there, you're lifting the arm and you're just finding yourself in space, right? So the belly is lifting in and up. That arm that's on the floor, you're getting a little bit of a tricep workout there to keep yourself firm. Breathe. And then you're going to take that arm under and through, the shoulder comes down. You'll start to feel that as a big twist out of that low back. The head comes down. And just breathe into that lung. So even breath becomes like light when we think about breath is air. It is very light in the sense of not dense, right? So breathe some spaciousness, some lightness into that left side body. Again, maybe bring some awareness to where your hips are in space and kind of lift and pull backwards in both of your hips. So you're lengthening away from the shoulder, just to give yourself more space along that line of energy that's twisting. Good. And as you're ready, you will again come into your downward facing dog. Let your head hang down, really lengthen the crown towards the ground, lengthen the back of the cervical spine. Make sure you're not crunching your shoulders all the way up into your ears. You want space between your shoulders, especially since we're doing a shoulder opening practice and we just started to open the shoulders. So in your pose, see if you can bend your elbows slightly, right? Instead of being here with the straight arms and you're all crunched up, bend the elbows slightly, even bend your knees slightly, lift and pull your hips back behind you so you're getting more length out of the upper back. And even with those elbows slightly bent, you might think about kind of spinning the elbows in. That's going to engage your lats and it's going to widen the space across the neck. I'll show you this actually in another pose, so we'll get this alignment nice in a minute. Good, just breathe here. Can you close your eyes for a moment? Visualize that candle, that light, again at that third eye space. Different because now it's upside down, defying gravity. Good, you can walk your feet towards your hands and just shake yourself out here. Bend your knees and roll up slowly, 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 engaging the leg muscles, engaging the belly. Take your shoulders up and back and down a few times. Just do some shoulder circles here. So just finding a little bit of Okay. So you can take your feet slightly wider than hip distance. We're going to just do some stretches here for a moment. Take your arms out to the sides. You're going to spin the palms behind you and then spin them open the other way. Just do that a few times. Good. And then you can, with the palms facing behind you, you can reach the palms behind the back, either interlace the hands together and the palms reach for each other, clasping. Those fingertips reach down behind your back. Elbows are working closer towards each other. If that's not available to you, you can just kind of find a grip here, like opposite elbows. But you're just trying to open through the top of the chest, getting the belly engaged, feet are pressing down, belly is drawing in, open up the chest, good, breathe. Notice if you feel more light in this pose, like when you close your eyes, right? This is actually, that's a very dreamlike practice, right? Dreams happen in images, not really so much words. Dreams, we like float from one place to another. We see an animal, we see a sky, we see a person, we see colors. So with your eyes closed, just notice like images that are coming into your physical body, into the frame of your mind. What colors are there? You can bend your knees and float down over bent knees. So your torso is resting on your thighs. Don't really, I mean, if you're really hankering to straighten your legs here, you can straighten, but it's really more for the inversion because now the blood is rushing towards your head and towards your forehead. And I just want you again inwardly, like you're watching a dream. Like right now you're in a lucid dream. What is happening across the screen of your mind? You can release the arms here. You're going to walk the hands forward, the feet back, wherever you need to go to get into a plank pose. From your plank, you're going to draw your body forward. I'm sorry. Yeah, plank. Sorry. I meant down dog, but now we're coming into plank. Yeah. So in your plank pose, you can lower your knees to the ground. And then very nice and slow, you're going to bend, 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 lower your chest towards the ground, but don't come all the way down. Hold it there for a second until you start feeling some shaking in your arms. If your elbows are out to the sides, think about pulling your elbows back in towards your side waist. Shake some more. This is triceps. Good. Then lower all the way to the belly. Ah. Okay. You're going to take your hands slightly wider than your shoulders and also slightly forward. So you're moving your hands forward and wide. So your elbows are way up in the sky like mine. See that? Okay. All 10 toenails are pressing down. Your pelvic floor is on the ground. Your low belly is lifting. Okay. What you're going to do is just gently push down into the floor so you're lifting your torso. You don't have to lift your head and neck. You can be looking down. Actually, your eyes could be closed. Okay. And from here, all you're going to do is you're going to bring your elbows in towards your side waist as close as you can. You're going to feel that as a big squeeze in your lat muscles, and you're going to notice that your shoulders come out of your ears. You just got a lot of space in your neck. So you're engaging and strengthening the mid-back to open up space in the upper neck and shoulders. This is a lot of work. This is hard. Yeah? Okay. You should be like heart pounding, sweating. Close your eyes. You should be seeing a lot of like very fiery colors here. Yellows, oranges, flames. Good. Lower all the way back down. Make a little pillow for your head. And just rest your head. You can bend the knees and windshield wiper the legs side to side. Good. We're going to do one more variation of the same pose. You're going to this time take Sphinx pose. So your elbows are going to come down under your shoulders. So you're kind of lined up, elbow under shoulder, elbow under shoulder. Again, your feet are pressing down. Actually, also as a good cue, don't let your feet go wide. Keep your inner thighs very close together. You can even have big toes touch. What that's going to do is actually protect the low back so you're not squeezing, crunching the low back. So with your arms out in front of you, yeah, we're just stretching the belly and the chest. So again, the pelvic bones are down, the lower part of the pelvis, but the upper part of the pelvis is lifting. Your belly is pulling in and up. You're thinking about everything is kind of lengthening up from that place. You can close your eyes. Your shoulders are down away from your ears. You can even imagine you're kind of isometrically pulling your hands back. They're not moving, but that feeling of drawing back with the hands is going to actually lift the torso more. Good. If these poses are heating you up, they're supposed to. Belly in and up, belly in and up. Nice big squeeze in the belly here. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. So the outer shoulders are pulling back, but on the back body, the shoulder blades are squeezing together. Good. And again, lower all the way down. Rest your head the opposite direction. You can shake out the legs. From here, you're going to come back into a child's pose. And you have a choice. I would take like a narrow child's pose with your knees closer together as opposed to farther apart here. But whatever is good for you. And if child's pose is not good for you at all, you can come into a down dog. You can come into a standing forward fold. Take some variation that's good for you. we're actually, if you're in your child pose, we're going to do something called rabbit pose. And that's about giving like a massage to the top of your head. So I'll show you from different angles, but you're going to take your arms back by your heels, and maybe you can actually hold on to your heels. And you're going to put the top of your head, like the forehead, to the floor. And then you lift your bottom up off your heels. And now you're like, and you might need to adjust where your head is. Find a space that feels good. If you know that you have some kind of cervical issue, this doesn't feel safe for you, don't do it. But it's really just like a way to give a massage to the top, the crown of your head. Why the crown of your head? Why all this? Jacob put the stones all around the top of his head, and then took the stone from the top of his head and anointed it and called that place Beit El, the house of God. And this idea that the Rosh, that our head, and that soft fontanelle place in the baby's head, that's the place where we draw down light from the eternal. That's the place where we connect to all of that consciousness that is the collective, that is, beyond our own ego, and it comes into us through the top of the head. So how do we keep that supple? How do we keep that kind of open? Yeah. Kabbalistically, that connects with Keter, which is the source of everything, the source, Ein Sof, the eternal, the infinite. All right. When you're ready, you can bring your hands forward on the mat. You can come into a downward facing dog. Let's take a down dog split here. So you'll just lift the right leg up to the sky. Notice again if your shoulders hiked up into your ears. So again, the way to avoid that, put a slight bend in the elbows and think about wrapping the elbows in towards the center line. That's going to get your lats nice and strong. Push the floor away from you. Come more into that left heel, reaching back. Right leg lifts high. You can circle the ankle a few times in either direction. And then bending the knee, let the heel drop open into a twister stretch here. What happens if you close your eyes here? What are the visions that show up for you? You can re-extend that leg. We're going to do a little bit of core here. So 3 times you draw yourself forward into a hovering plank pose. The knee comes up towards your chin. Exhale, the leg comes back behind you. Good. Forward and back 3 times. The 3rd time you come here, you're going to step the foot forward. You might need to help it along. That's okay. You're going to turn that back foot down, and you're going to rise up into a warrior 1 stance. Great. Okay. Good. So I see everybody so excited and eager to do their full expression of the warrior 1 with their arms raised. Good. That's a good place to start. And then what I'm going to tell you to do is drop your left arm and bring it behind your right hip. Yeah. So from the back, it now looks like you have this little thing here, and you're going to lean yourself back into that arm. Yeah. Good. Open up the chest. Don't let the front knee straighten. So the front knee is still bending forward. The tailbone is lengthening down though, right? The tailbone is long. Oh, whoops. There you go. Good. And then you can also drop that right hand behind you and either keep the hands in like opposite elbow stance behind your back or interlace. And then you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly fold forward over that thigh, maybe lifting those arms up behind you to stretch the shoulders up and back away from the ears. Another variation is keep the hands unclasped, palms up, and just reach your fingertips back behind you, like someone's pulling on your fingertips, and that's lifting those shoulders up and back. Good. Where's your gaze in this pose? It could be by your big toe. It could be back towards your back arch. Maybe your gaze could be inward, eyes closed. That's a little precarious with more balance. Notice what happens if you do that. Good. You're going to bring the hands down to the floor in front of you. Step all your weight into that front foot. Just lift your left leg behind you. And then 3 times knee to chin or nose here. So squeeze it in and out. In and out. You can step that foot back, come into a plank pose. You can either, in here, you can lower all the way down in your plank and do a little bit of a cobra or up dog or sphinx, your choice. If you're a little more advanced and you can hold a half plank, chaturanga, then from right there, you can lift into that back bend again, elbows hug in, shoulders back and down. Either way, you're going to come meet in downward facing dog and lift your left leg high to the sky. Good, down dog split. So you might need a moment with your eyes open to check out your hands, to check out your back heel. Is it pressing back? Right? And then see if you might want to close your eyes. It's so amazing how just the simple act of closing your eyes can change your consciousness, like what you're aware of, what is revealed to you. Good. You're going to circle that ankle a few times, one way and the other. And then bend that knee so the heel drops behind you. Nice twist or stretch. Shake your head side to side. Make sure that you still have space in your shoulders and your neck. And then extend that leg straight back behind you. 3 times that knee comes in towards the nose. And then elevate it back. The 3rd time, you're going to step that foot forward, turn the back foot down, rising up, warrior pose. Yeah, and you can start right here. Yeah, but not up here. Keep softening a little bit out of the ears. Yeah. What might help is like taking your hands and kind of spinning this way, right? If you take your hands forward and then this feeling of spinning the pinkies in, the thumbs behind you, again, what that's doing is it's engaging the lats. So it's widening through the upper back and shoulders. Okay. Now you're going to drop the right hand behind your left hip and lean back into that. That's a bigger stretch for the hip. Belly in, lengthening. Yeah. Drop the other hand behind you, whatever variation you want to take here. It doesn't have to be the same as the other side. You can fold forward, forward, forward. Humble warrior pose. Keep drawing that left hip back behind you if you can, but keep the knee bent. Yep. Maybe play with closing your eyes here, internal gaze. Keeping the breath long and deep. Woo. Hands can come to the floor, forward of that foot. Step all your weight into that standing left leg. And then 3 times that right knee comes into the nose and extends back. If you have blocks nearby, this is a good place to elevate the floor and bring your hands to blocks. Good. And this time, just let your back foot step by your front foot. Shake yourself out here. Bend the knees and slowly rise up. How you guys doing? Okay. All right, let's do a little standing balance, okay? Find yourself feet a little bit closer in, underneath hip distance. Good. So let's just first do like a little tiptoe balance. You can keep your hands at your heart or by your sides or out in front, whatever's going to support you to feel strong. We're doing eyes open first because balancing with eyes closed is very challenging, but we will do that challenge in a moment. Okay, so find a thing to look at where your gaze is steady and just come up on your toes and then lower back down. Yeah, notice the tendency of the feet to want to roll outward. Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh, what do I need to do to keep that holding to the center? Think about drawing the muscles around your inner knees in and up. So these inner knees, inner thighs are engaged. Belly is definitely engaged. Tailbone is nice and long, and the pelvis is neutral, upright. Good. Good. Maybe the next time you get up to the top, you just hold yourself there for a moment and smile. Spread across the toes. Notice the wobbling. That's all fine. Yeah. Norah makom hazeh. How amazing is this place, this body, this moment, this awareness of whatever is arising in this moment, this consciousness. Good. Lower it down, shake out your feet. Ooh. Okay, let's do an eagle pose. Because when you think about vision, you think about like the eagle has that bird's eye view, that higher vision. So being able to see things from a different perspective, right? Sometimes that's what dreams do. They show us something that we're not able to see or process or understand in our waking life. And then we dream it and it has us look at it from a completely different perspective and something is revealed there, right? God was always there, but Jacob didn't see it until he was dreaming. So, all right, here we go. Angel, not angel. Oh, angel. Well, we're doing an eagle. We'll turn it into an angel too, but we'll start with the eagle. So you're gonna, here, let's just start there. Let's start with wings. Ah, yeah, nice. Okay, your right arm is gonna come under, your left arm is gonna come over. So you're taking those wings and wrapping them, and then you're trying to find some connection with the hands, okay? So let's just do the shoulder portion of this pose first. You're gonna lift your elbows up. Yeah, lift the elbows up, but pull the shoulders down. So there's an opposite action happening. Elbows up, shoulders down. That's gonna separate and spread these shoulders away from the ears. Yeah, and then you can circle. And again, here I would encourage you, close your eyes for a moment and just feel the gloriousness, the awesomeness of whatever is getting brightened in this pose. You can like physically inside feel and see the brightness as it's happening. Good. Now, again, you're just going to reset yourself. Elbows up, hands away from your face. So you're kind of like in a 90-degree angle here. And now you're going to take your left knee, lift it up, cross your left thigh over the right thigh, find some hook above the knee, and then you're going to sit your hips down, bend the right knee, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Smile if you can. Balance. Good. If you want to take this a little more challenging, you can start to, I'm losing my balance. Start to slowly fold your elbows down towards or past your knees. Maybe those hands reaching towards the ground. Good. On a big inhale, you're going to unwind the arms, unwind the legs, sweep it up and down a few times. Angels going up the ladder, angels coming down the ladder. Good. All the way up, and this time just let yourself float all the way down. Shake it out. Bend the knees and slowly roll up. Whew. Whoever said they wanted shoulders this morning, thank you. I think we're all like enjoying this. Lots of like openness in the shoulders. All right, let's do the same pose on the second side. And then we're going to bring it down to a meditation, visualization kind of end of the practice. So flying, whew, big, big wingspan. And then the left arm comes under the right arm. And you find your hook. And again, you lift those elbows and you draw the shoulders down. So the tendency is when you draw the shoulders down, your elbows drop. Draw your shoulders down, keep the shoulders down, but then relift the elbows. And then take the hands forward away from your face. And you'll literally feel yourself like stretching the tight muscles all around the shoulders and the middle of that spine and the upper back. And then from here, you can circle. And circle the other way. Another thing that feels nice, we didn't do it on the other side, but maybe you hold your elbows to a certain place and you just kind of gently let your ear drop from one, like ear to shoulder, just stretching the neck muscles also. Feels really good. Okay, and then from here, slight bend in both knees. Lift that right foot off the floor. Right thigh comes over left thigh. Yeah, hook and squeeze the legs together and start to lower your hips, lower your seat. That's okay for your knees. And then you're gonna, if you want, slowly fold forward. And then release it all the way out and shake it out. Whew. Big, big, big lift up. Let yourself fold over. All right, one more little balance pose. Promise, this is the last one. Okay, you're gonna bring your toes together or close together. Sandy, knees, this might not be right for you. Okay, if you have issues with your knees, this is the variation. You're gonna instead create a block tower and you're gonna sit on the blocks and you can just stay there. Okay, and we'll do a variation from there. If your knees are healthy, your feet come together, you're basically bending your knees, bring your fingertips to the floor, and then you're gonna lift the heels up. So your heels you're stretching the toes here. So you might need to pull your pinky toe over to the side. If your feet are all crunched, right, you wanna widen, get your toes down, stretching the foot. Here's the balance here. You're trying to get your thighs parallel to the floor. Now, actually, it's kind of nice and helpful to have blocks here too. So you can have your blocks here to the side. This is a version, it's called sage pose. And it's about having this download of wisdom. It's a little bit challenging. So you could stay here. Maybe if you're here, you can play with taking one hand off the floor, maybe the other. So you're in basically a toe balance pose like we did standing, but now you're bent. Hands to the heart. Maybe be brave enough to close your eyes for a millisecond and see what happens. Yeah. Wow, good. All right, release that all the way out. Yeah, like how do we make ourselves a channel to receive, to receive and be in connection with whatever wisdom needs to come through us, right? If it's always there all the time, that wisdom, that awareness. How do we open ourselves to it? So come lie on your back. I'll give one option if you have blocks nearby. Maybe before we do just Shavasana and yoga. Actually, forget it. Let's just go into a Yoga Nidra pose. Sorry. Let's go to a yogic sleep practice, which is a visualization practice. You're gonna come. You're gonna just lie on your back. Good. Kind of just shift your hips for a moment. You could flip flop your ankles and feet side to side. You know, whatever you need to do to get comfortable. If that's not so comfortable in your low back, you have any low back issues, you could roll up a blanket and put that under your knees. Okay, arms by your sides, chest is open. You might want to readjust your shoulder blades. Maybe if you bring them a little closer together on the back body, that opens again your shoulders and your chest. Just take a moment to fully breathe into your body here. So like we did in the beginning, imagine that all of the pores of your skin are open, and every breath you take in and out, there's just an exchange of light through the skin, so that you start to feel very, very filled up with light, almost like you're glowing, you're radiating. I'll do a little guided relaxation. So you're going to bring your awareness to your feet. And you're going to breathe light into your feet. Imagine your toes, the soles of your feet, your arches, your heel, tops of your feet are just filled with light. Imagine that light being very healing and just soothing away any tension, any darkness. And let your feet relax, let your toes relax. Drawing that light up to your ankles. Feel your ankles relax. Letting go of any tension there. Imagine this vibrational light energy healing any old injuries, any weakness. And then drawing that light up through your lower legs, up through the shin bones, the back of the legs, the calf muscles, all the way up into your knees, so that your legs feel very light and airy. You can imagine the warmth or the vibration of that energy softening the kneecaps. Again, healing. On your next inhale, draw that light and energy up through the upper legs. So your thighs, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, all the way up into the hip joints. Just feel yourself lit up from inside. Every time you inhale, you're shining and radiating even more luminosity. Fill the whole pelvic bowl with bright light. Drawing that light up through the low back, up through the belly. All of those internal organs, imagine them just like dancing with joy, with all of that brightness that you're inhaling into them. Dispelling any darkness, any sluggishness. On your next big inhale, draw that energy all the way up through the upper chest into the heart space. Your lungs are just filled with bright, bright energy. And from your fingertips all the way through the palms of your hands, your wrists, your arms, bring light into your arms. Inhaling through all the pores of the skin. Your arms are lit up. Connecting that light at the shoulders, the rest of the torso, your shoulders, your neck, your throat, bringing healing energy. And then opening that channel from your throat into the headspace, your rosh, and fill up your whole head, your brain, with all of this brightness, so that your whole head just feels like this bright white candle, like just luminous. Maybe that image of Moses with the rays of light shining out from his head, from his face, your whole face, your panim, are just so illuminated that it's shining. Keeping the breath slow and easy. And really bringing your inner gaze, keeping it within your head, maybe bringing it again to that third eye, or up even to the crown of the head. And feeling like you're a channel for this divine light of the higher consciousness, the Ein Sof, the eternal. That somehow right now in this moment, you're actually, that all of that energy is just coming, running through you, entering through your crown, through your face. And you can feel that energy now running through and filling up every part of your body. God is in this place. in this body. And like that liminal dream space before you wake, just notice whatever arises, images, thoughts. What is being revealed to you that maybe you didn't know before this practice? And take another moment to just offer any blessings for yourself or anyone else. And you'll bring yourself back slowly. Just wiggle fingers and toes very gently, bringing bit by bit some wakefulness back into the body. And make your transition back to sitting a nice slow transition. As you're ready, you can sit yourself up. Shalom b'mrama, huya shalom aleinu, val kol Yisrael, val kol yoshvei tevel. May the source of peace bless us with peace in our comings and in our goings, in our waking life and in our sleeping life. May peace be revealed to us in each moment. Peace for ourselves, peace for our families, peace in our community, and peace in the world. Amen. All right, you guys, have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
So welcome. Bye, guys.